Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. Now, it is in 2022, we are celebrating 40 years of Machel Montano, 40 years of giving us great music, and this morning, he's in your spotlight on Now.
Now, Machel Montano is a gifted musician, an exceptional artist, actor, record producer, and songwriter. Machel is famous for his highly energetic, fast-paced, and memorable live performances. Machel first shot to fame at the age of 9 with his hit selection, Too Young to Soca, and over the years, we've seen him transform into the King of Soca, which is also the title of his book, which is set to be released today. And as we look forward to celebrating Machel's 40th year in the music industry, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Mr. Machel Montano to the Now Morning Show. Machel, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Good morning, Kimberly, and good morning, Ruckus, and everyone at TTT. Thank you for having me this morning.
Of course. Now, Machel, first of all, 40 years in the industry. Let me just congratulate you for reaching this milestone. Of course, also congratulations on your mom for writing this book. I have to ask, though, yes. I saw that your mom actually posted a video of you receiving the book, and you're joking with her, asking her how much detail she put in there. So how does it feel to have your life laid bare like that for people to actually get an insight into who Machel really is?
Well, that has been my life ever since the beginning, being an entertainer and being in the soca music industry, coming up from small. Everybody knows you since you're small. And my life has been under a microscope ever since. It has been, ups and downs with that, but there has been always, a lesson and an encouragement to keep the level of integrity, to make sure you're doing the right things and try your best, and I guess the stories will unfold as they are told, because, there's one life where people see your life because you have be a public figure, but then there's a whole different backstory. And I think this is what, my mom tried to slip in there and explain from her point of view, which is a wonderful point of view, seeing that she's the one who has really been with me, throughout it all.
Yes. She has been dubbed the ultimate insider, and I was wondering, did you get a chance to read the book as yet? Have you seen anything that you may want to question Mommy about?
Well, she gave me a couple of parts there to just, go over the information and make sure it was straight. But I didn't get a chance to sit down and read the entire thing as yet. I kind of helped with some stories that she wanted corroborating. And we have to remember, did it happen this way? Did it happen this way? And sometimes she interviewed me about my personal feelings in certain things. But I haven't read it in its entirety. That copy was the first copy fresh off the press. And I just browsed through it because I say, I would love the experience of sitting down and attacking it from the start to the end and really reflecting on those wonderful moments.
Of course. Now, I know because of the 40th celebrations, you have the book coming out, but there's also some other things that you're going to be doing. I know one of those things, of course, is the major concert you have coming up in September at Barclays. Tell us a little bit about what else we can look forward to with the 40th anniversary.
Well, we had a couple of things that we planned for this 40th anniversary, including that huge concert on Labor Day Monday, Barclays Center. This is like a follow-up after doing Madison Square Garden and selling out Madison Square Garden twice in one night. We decided, look, it's time to bring it home, because at the time we did Madison, Brooklyn didn't have a center like Barclays Center. And Brooklyn was really one of those important places that, helped mold my career and helped me to become who I am today. So all the trainees, all the Caribbean people that live there come to the shows over the years. Kind of, we wanted to do something again as grand as Madison Square Garden. So that is the set off concert. And then we had ideas like, we working a 40th album, a box set of the greatest hits of Machel Montano the last 4 decades. And I have songs from 1982 that could be on the album to all the way to 2022. So many songs from Calypso to Soca to social commentary to collaborations, international mixes. So we just wanted to kind of give the fans that snapshot, because, a lot of people grew up with Machel Montano, and I grew up with a lot of the other entertainers. So on those albums, you will see features from all different genres and all different eras of even our local industry, like the Calypsonians, like Sparrow, things like Congo Man, this, that. So we just wanted to put that stake on the moon, and say, hey, this is what we've been doing for 40 years. We're grateful to all the fans who shared the journey and the moments with us. So the album is there,
Amazing.
that show is there. We've been doing a couple specific tours and bringing Sadhguru to Trinidad and Tobago again, doing something conscious about the environment, all different kind of things we're thinking about specifically doing at this 40-year milestone.
Amazing.
Amazing stuff, Machel. Let me say congratulations on morning. 40 years is a long time to
Yes,
be
I.
doing this thing consistently. You mentioned that your life has been kind of under the microscope since you started, right? You are what I would consider to be our only pop star. You're the only person who business we does mind religiously, right? But I heard you say something the other day at Daniel DeFrontallo's show. You said that over the years you've been through so many different things in the industry. You've been hated, you've been chastised, you've been accepted, you've been all sorts of different things, but nothing trumps the love that you've received from the people of Trinidad and Tobago and of soca music, of soca music fans. At what point
Yeah.
did you come to that acceptance when you realized that even despite everything else that people might say or do, that they still love, the love is overwhelming?
Just, because sometimes you're not mature enough to handle it or to understand it. And, Bob Marley always say, could you be loved and be loved, or could you be loved and be loved? Sometimes when you're being loved, these people want you exclusively. They want to own you. When in our understanding, love is to really free something and don't even have the need to understand it. It's to blend with it. So I spent a lot of years, singing calypso and not being, appreciated by the younger crowd, being loved by the elder crowd, because here's this little boy doing this thing, but the younger crowd didn't really like the calypso or the local culture. So I had to figure out how to get them on my side. And I remember moments like, playing in Donruss for Poison Fete, in a year like a big truck, when I could see that the audience really came to light and say, okay, yeah, we like this guy, we like what he's doing, we want to be under his stage. And you'll see certain people who really wasn't there before there. And for me, is watching the front of that stage, being in this live performance, seeing I used to always say, I can't wait to see the day when girls in pom-pom shorts in front of a stage instead of, just people clapping, sitting down in three-piece suit. And I used to really watch it and monitor it. So I saw that. But a specific moment happened about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years ago in Guyana. I went to Guyana and I was in my hotel room, and the hotel room was right next to the stadium. And this was a Machel Montano show that we hadn't done Guyana for a couple of years prior to that, like 2 years. And when I went outside about 10 o'clock, I woke up and I was like, okay, showtime is 12, let me get ready. But I looked outside and I saw cars on the way to the stadium, maybe a mile, just traffic jam. And then looking in the opposite direction, same traffic jam. And I was like, wait, all these people here really to see me? And this started in the garage in Siparia, just wanting to play in birthday parties. It's like so crazy, something that you couldn't dream of, but yet it happens. So it have certain moments that you will realize that, yeah, you did something right and you're really loved or you're really respected for what you do. People want to come and share that space and that energy that you have to offer. And there's always these check marks. Madison Square Garden was a night like that. I remember the amount of Caribbean flags that we saw in that place. So for me, it is important to go back in Barclays Center and do that. And of course, all the Machel Mondays. The Machel Mondays is always that marker when you see your fans of all levels from front to back supporting you and having a good time. So I have had many moments like that in my life, which I cherish and I still look back on and look forward to.
Yeah, and when I look back on and we look forward, when we speak of looking back and looking forward, you had such a strong influence on the industry as it stands today. So I mean, what you talk about, what you came up in, that sort of that side of the industry has tamed out a bit, and now we have this side of the industry that is, I mean, you're the king of the soca industry, right? That's what we've been saying, the king of soca. Do you at all
Yeah.
think that the what does the future of soca look like to you as the person who's been contributing to making it what it is now. Like there are a whole bunch of mini Machels running around the place of people who want to be mini Machels, right? Or influenced by, inspired by. But what does the future of soca look like to you?
Well, when you say mini Machel, Machel is a mini Kitchener, mini Super Blue, mini Francine, all these people I looked at and I developed my craft based on watching them. And just today, rest in peace, Barry Howard. Barry was a good friend of mine, myself, Farman Appy, and I. We grew up watching people like Barry play percussion and drums, and we grew up under these guys, Charlie's Roots, Song Rev, Chandler, Firefly, Cali, and you name it. We used to be standing up at the front of the stage, back to the stage, watching these guys and learning. And when you see these mini Marshalls, I see it as one organism going through transformation. And in my time, it was Machel Montano and probably Natasha Wilson. A few other people in the industry from that time, like Kurt Allen, Roger George. You would see them come up, Melanie Hudson, and we went to Calypso, and some of us, transitioned into soca. But at that time, it didn't have young people involved. And today, I see so many young people interested in the local industry and involved. So to me, that's a glimpse into the future. Now, my understanding of the future is, the future has to be unknown. The future is not something you could know. From the time you know it, it will be a derivative of the past. It will be not something fresh. So I love to keep the future as the endless opportunities that it could be versus what I see it as, because my view will be very limited. It will only be related to what I have seen before. So, that's why I always love to step into the unknown, but going with my experience of the past, going with the integrity of, what I am doing, meaning that I give my best, I totally involve, I leave everything on the line when I go in front of the mic, in the studio, in front of the mixing board when I'm fixing the tracks, in front of the stage mic when I'm in front of the audience. Once I leave it all out there, the future is always a pleasant surprise because it's always something that you can't tell. So the indicator is that a lot of young people involved, a lot of them inspired, a lot of them creating, people like Kes Voice, Patrice Roberts, Nyla Blackman, Nadia Batson, Young Brother. It has so many different people doing things that, you just sit back and wonder to expect something great that you could never, imagine.
Yeah. Now, Machel, I hear you. I hear what you say in terms of the future, but I have to ask. We've seen all types of iterations of Machel. We've seen Monk Monte, we saw Winer Boy, we saw HD, we saw everybody. I have to know, moving into 40 and beyond, what is the next iteration of Machel Montano that we can look forward to?
Well, that the next 20 years is being sculpted right now. That's what I took, time during the pandemic to think about. For the last 5 years, I've been dealing with what you call internal matters, like making sure the business side of things is okay, my publishing, my business management, financial management plans, the structures of the business. We've been taking care of that for the last 5 years and cleaning it up, and we finally seen a way where we could spend more time in creativity, because a lot of the times when you have a big machinery like mine with so many people working for you, you have to keep the train rolling. And there's always a time, as I say, to go in and a time to come out. And I'm going in now to sort of make this next version of me, or this next expression, because for me there are dreams and goals that I've had musically that I want to express. And some of them are so wide and so far reaching that I want to take time and go into it and give my all. It's a study too, because a lot of it is things that I'm not familiar with, that I want to try and I want to experiment with. So I have to go and do that, but I had to make sure business was settled, everybody was comfortable, and we have the ability to invest time. Because sometimes, if you're paying bills and you're on the road and the machine working, it needs maintenance and it needs constant attention. But now I feel like, the industry is in a place where it have so many other people who could fill my space, that I could take little breaks here and there and really invest in what is next for Machel. And there is a type of music that I've been hearing for a long time that I want to experiment with, work with. There are, messages that I would love to express things that are in my head, in my heart, how I feel, and then generally, speaking about things of the time, what we face with today in society in Trinidad and Tobago, in the music business, but in the world at large. We're still going through some things that I think, like you know, just general behaviors that you think, your music need to come out there and make people feel nice. It was always about, for me, we ready, seeing people spreading their hand and let go according to blacks. It was always that relieving people's stress. But now I think we have to, focus on making people strong inside, making them more conscious about, the oneness with the environment, the oneness with each other, the oneness with life itself, understanding that life is precious and, we don't want to take it or we don't want to lose it. So just a lot of things flowing around inside of me that I've always used my music to express. And, that is the next stage. And in my mom's book, in the King of Soca book, she dealt with the different eras coming up, but she also did, ask me about the beyond. So I speak a lot about that there in the book too.
Marshall, I like that you mentioned in terms of what is happening now, because it seems as if you're touching on social commentary, and I wanted to know if it is we're looking at a calypso side to Marshall.
Well, I started in social commentary. I have some of the sweetest social commentaries, like, the letter. I am writing a letter to the education minister talking about, the accountability of school teachers. I have a song in 1982 that was called My Rights. I have the right. I'm a child of this world, you see, so you better take care of me, taking care of children, taking care of the education system and talking to the teachers, setting the examples for the students, singing about Take Me Back Africa. I want to be in your arms again. Take me back, Africa. We come from the land of oil and music, singing about real unity. Every creed and race we jump in as one. Every creed and race love one another, unite the nation, jumping in our band. Martial music has always been social commentary, even though it's in soca, even though it's in the fets, it's in the parties. I always try to take a message in there. And all of those messages we still face with today. We still face with, the rights of children being trampled upon, not understanding them as equals. And, sometimes we will step over them. We also see, the school system being under a little pressure in terms of discipline and that respect for teacher and student. Speaking about real unity, we still see that sometimes, racial tension between different sides of the society. So there is always that in me, and there will always be that. Soca is also a child of calypso, so there is some social commentary in the DNA.
Nice.
Definitely, always have a little taste inside. Marshall, every time you mention your mom's book, your smile just grows, and you can see the pride beaming from you. Have you always felt that way about her? Is it every step a new one that you say, oh gosh, mom, you're doing it again?
Yeah, just as I said yesterday, walking, my wife was laughing and she was saying, lady, really good, she's keep going, and when she's doing her thing, she's always be on her thing. I always are impressed by her efforts, and she knows this. I always speak of her as like not my mother, but as a human being, because I observe human beings and I like greatness. Greatness is the thing that pushes me forward. People like Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Mandela, you name it, all the greats, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan. I will look at everybody, look at their life and realize that they're just normal people. So when I look at my mother like that, I realize her struggles as a child. And I realize what she has built, and every time she steps to the plate to do something, she'll achieve it. So when I said in her book, I'm laughing in my mind because, we never thought that would happen. And that was one of the blessings that came out of the pandemic. But she always was building books. She was building these, what do you call it? Oh my God, it's slipping me. These,
like a scrapbook?
Scrapbooks. That's what I'm talking about. And scrapbooks with every single article, every single flyer from 1982. And a lot of these things is what will end up in the book. And a lot of these things have helped me in the years like in 2000 when I needed to be reborn, or I was rebuilding myself. That album called 2000 Young to Soca with Real Unity and all those songs on there. I went to her books and looked back at the stories and the articles about me since in the 80s to then. And that is what helped me really discover myself, discover the journey, understand the trajectory, and go back at it. And every single time I've stepped it. So now a lot of this information has been digitized. She spent many years, probably over 10 years, digitizing everything. And now, she had the opportunity to express it. So when I say my mom's book, I just laughing at because I'm thinking about all the different stages that it went through to get to this. And finally, she has a book, which is something we didn't really dream of.
And it's definitely launching today. So I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning, Machel, to celebrate the King of Soca, the book launching today. We look forward to reading it, to getting the fantastic feedback that I know is going to come, and to getting the truth behind some of these stories. So from the ultimate insider, I want to thank you very much for joining us on the Now Morning Show, and do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Make sure log on to @machelmontano.com, the YouTube channel, Facebook, and you're going to see the action tonight. And get your copy of King of Soca.
I done pre-order mine already. So everybody else go and get all your own.
KingofSoca.com.
Yes, all right.
Thank you. Have a blessed morning, guys.
Yeah, man. You too. Take care. That's Machel Montano, Dr. Machel Montano, the King of Soca. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Now Morning Show. We take a quick break and come back with more. Stay tuned.
As a water